Bit of a flight from California for Joe.
That, you always forget that when you see him out on the SCG Open Series every weekend, that he's the lone West Coast player on the leaderboard.
Yeah, does most of his testing on that stream that he does. You usually know what Joe's going to be playing if you have paid any attention to his stream at all.
So Brad will start out on a Godless Shrine. It's Urza's Power Plant for Joe and a Chromatic Sphere. Both players now knowing what the matchup is. Joe said that mental fist pump, you got things going.
Oh yeah, Godless Shrine, whew, what a relief. That's not an Ayavugan.
You look at Brad's creature base. It's Tarmogoyf, Siege Rhino, Scavenging Ooze, Kalitas, Trader of Get. These creatures are very effective with removal, but they're not fast.
No, absolutely not.
Joe's turn 2 will be cracking Chromatic Sphere for green mana for Ancient Stirrings, and he'll stir up, see if he can find another Tron piece.
The best cantrip in Modern, Ancient Stirrings. Not enough praise is said for this
card.
card.
That is just a true statement, I believe. That is just the best cantrip in Modern.
They banned all the other ones.
Serum Visions is good, and I like Serum Visions, but no, it's Ancient Stirrings.
We play Serum Visions because it's palatable and because it's not Sleight of Hand.
Sleight of Hand is not really a card. You can't do that unless you're Storm. Storm can afford to play that, no one else.
Yep.
Urza's Tower will be the play. Joe got an Expedition map off that Stirrings, but he'll play Chromatic Star instead. I suppose not no one else, but you got to have a reason. For 1 mana, Sleight of Hand does not do much.
No, not very much at all. They're not Storm decks per se, but they are Lightning Storm decks. The Ad Nauseam combo deck does play Sleight of Hand.
It's because they have nothing else to do in the meantime.
Oh yeah, they do a whole lot of nothing. There is no deck in Modern that is better at doing nothing than Ad Nauseam combo.
Go back over to Brad, turn 3. No threats just yet. He knows because of that map that Joe has Tron. If not in hand, he has it at the ready next turn.
Yep. So this is where things start to look real bad for Brad.
No copies of Fulminator Mage in the main either. He has 4 Lingering Souls. There's a lot of value cards, but it's hard to outvalue the guy who's playing Karn and Ulamog.
Yeah, especially when they start doing those things on turn 3. So we'll find out what kind of spells that Joe has here.
3rd land from Brad. No threats just yet. And for Joe, it's another tower. And he'll go ahead and play that Expedition map he found. Now, of note here, Joe found the map last turn, but because he knew he was against Abzan, he waited until this turn to play the map so that he could protect it from an Abrupt Decay.
Yep, very heads-up play by Joe. This is not his first rodeo. Even though he is excited about the fact that his opponent is playing the Rock, you still have to think a little bit about your lines.
Brad will get another tap land on end step. He's now at 18. That Expedition map will get sacrificed almost certainly to find Urza's Mine for Joe. He'll untap, and after playing that land, he'll have 10 mana available.
Yeah, probably play Ulamog or something stupid.
Karn, Wormcoil Engine.
I think I've seen him cast some Kozilek's The Great Distortion on stream. Looks like this weekend he's on 2 copies of Ulamog, no Kozilek's in the 75.
Yeah, he had Conduit of Ruins for a while, but has gone away from those. Just more of the, I think he has the traditional net deck build.
Yeah, I think that Kozilek is more exciting, but Ulamog is just more impactful. Destroying 2 permanents is a pretty big game. Especially a deck like Tron, where in these kind of games, Brown has not had a fast start himself, but Joe has just been doing a lot of spinning his tires. So a Kozilek on this board is a lot less impactful than just casting Ulamog.
Yep, gets Urza's Mine on the end step.
To be fair, they're both probably just good enough.
Joe doing the art splits of the different Antiquities cards.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
Gotta watch out for that one. We've seen that one come to hit Ali Antrazi very hard before.
He does this on Magic Online, too. He thinks it's hilarious.
Well, some of them are real weird. Like, they'll look like one, but they're actually the other.
Yeah, like there's an Urza's Mine. I think it's actually the one he hasn't played that just looks like a tower.
Yeah. It's a tower.
I have no idea what's that. I think his copies are at least in English.
There we go. That's the one. Nope, that's a mine. See, Urza's towers all look fancy and polished. They're made out of marble. See, there's a little crane over the side. That's how you know it's a mine.
All I'm saying is that I hope whoever commissioned and approved that art no longer works for Wizards.
That's not a mine. That's not a power plant. So you'd think it was a power plant because it's, kind of looks like a reactor. But no, that's a mine. That's a mine.
Yeah, it makes perfect intuitive sense.
Going back to Joe, but that on Joe's side of the table is 10 mana. And on Brad's side is a Kalitas, Trader of Gat.
Looks a lot like Joe has an Ulamog here.
All right, Ulamog is going to outclass Kalitas.
So Kalitas serves the Eldrazi, so this is really appropriate. If you're playing Kalitas and I'm playing Ulamog, you're going to lose. You are subservient to me. The chain of command dictates that you will get crushed by me.
Well, see, it was the vampires' fault. Because, see, the Get were like the lower class vampires where the Colostria oppressed them. So then when the Eldrazi came, the Get, Kalitas led the Get into servitude because he figured it was better than the status quo. It's a story of class struggle. Kalitas is just a pawn in this.
A timeless tale. We saw Joe take out white sources for Brad. Obviously, Path to Exile, the only thing that's going to stop this Ulamog from stealing this game. But
yeah, well, there's not. Yeah, we'll see if he has a path, or will he exile 20 cards off the top of his deck? Nope, he's counting to 20. That's Ulamog.
And really hoping that all 4 paths are not in that pile. And then hoping and praying for a lot more things on top of that, because this is not a good position for the Abzan deck.
At what point when Joe starts going through all the cards in your deck, you just stop him and take the cards back and say, no, we're done. We're done.
I think that I wouldn't even pass turn on my last turn if I was Brown.
If you couldn't kill the Ulamog, you just pack it in.
There's a good chance he hasn't had an opportunity to eat dinner yet today.
It's been a long tournament.
I might just concede match.
That's extreme.
It is extreme.
It's playing for day 2. It's playing. He's got to try.
That's fair. You have your long shots. It'd be a good story if you end up winning.
His 3/4 does not look good here, though.
Looks real bad. Does have lifelink.
Yeah. And when you're getting cards exiled, lifelink means you get to put cards back in your deck. It's because that's the form of damage you're taking. It's also the form of life gain you get.
Magic doesn't go quite that deep. I would fact check you on that one.
I read it on the internet. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I read it from a level 12 judge on Reddit, so it's probably true.
Karn now for Joe. He'll Ancient Stirrings into that and has the mana to cast it. So why not?
Do anything.
Hasn't played a land yet. He could,
Yeah, that's probably going to be important. 10 mana is it's not infinite.
Yeah. Here's 7. All right, we'll play Karn. Looks good here. Well, exile a land, a Kalitas, maybe a card in Brad's hand. Sure, it seems like a good choice. I'll take the Temple Garden.
Well, let's see. He exiled the land, but now the Karn could die to the Kalitas.
It could.
This is a bad spot.
Yeah. It's going to play Chromatic Sphere.
See, that won't block. That won't block for the Karn. This could be a misstep by Joe.
Brad will get 3 life points. He'll go to 10. Ulamog's a 10/10. Maybe we got that. Brad will fetch. We'll see if he has a fetchable land left. Ulamog did ceaselessly eat half his deck.
That would be quite unfortunate if the Exiling effect removed all of the white sources that Verdant Catacombs could find.
That's not impossible. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't kidding. There aren't that many. There's a Plains. A Godless Shrine and a Temple Garden.
In particular, the green-black fetch land, that's the one that's most likely to miss after that exile effect.
Well, it looks like Brad will just sacrifice down to 0 lands there, and we'll be on to game 2.
So if he conceded that game 3 minutes ago, he would miss out on the dejection of cracking a fetch and failing to find.
Yeah, I agree with that.
These are small victories.
Might miss out on the dinner special at the restaurant nearby. There's a lot of reasons you gotta.
If he misses happy hour,
he's
going to be double unhappy.
He's gonna have to pay full price for appetizers.
That's just not how you want your day to end.
All right, we're gonna go to the sideboards here. Brad Brown needs help. Game 1 was a massacre. Let's look at some of the cards he has.
All right, we have Fulminator Mage.
Great. It interacts. I'm down.
We have half the copies we could have. Probably feeling a little bit bad about that right now. We have Stony Silence.
Stony Silence is actually great against Tron.
Yes. On the play, getting that online before Joe has the ability to crack an Expedition map can actually really slow down Joe's ability to set up Tron. So that is a good card.
Okay, so we can Stony Silence Joe early. We can blow up some of his lands. Then Kalitas will swing 7 times and we'll win.
Yeah, probably.
All right, just how we drew it up. I can't see any way that could go wrong. Let's look at Joe's side. Traditionally, he has no sideboard cards for this matchup.
And why bother? Today he has some Thrag Tusks. Sure.
Sure, that's fine. He doesn't need them, but I think he'll take them.
Yeah, Relic of Progenitus is another card where it's like, yeah, Brad's playing Tarmogoyfs, he's playing Lingering Souls, whatever.
Now, what do you feel about Sacred Ground? Joe actually does have sideboard cards here.
This is a fun white enchantment. It's white and 1. I believe the card was originally printed in Stronghold. The text on this card is that if a land would be put into a graveyard from play, you just return it to the battlefield.
Okay. So that'll work against Fulminator Mage.
Joe actually has a a command that when you talk to the bot on his stream, you say command white enchantment in Joe's sideboard, it gives you the text of Sacred Ground.
Wait, really?
Yes, it's a pretty great command. It's just everybody asks it all the time.
That's very specific. You have to type white enchantment in sideboard?
Yeah, white enchantment. I think it catches on a couple different commands.
All right. Well-trained bot. That's great.
They're learning.
All right, well, these players are going to get ready for game 2. We have a special announcement we'd like to make, and this is for you guys going to SCG Philadelphia next weekend. And happen to be basketball fans, we have had a partnership with the Philadelphia 76ers, a special deal here. The Sixers and Wizards have a game Friday night before the event. If you want to show up, watch some basketball, play some Magic, we have a great weekend for you. Go ahead and visit scg.im/NBA and enter the code SCGPhilly as a promo code to get discounted tickets for the game between these two teams.
Yeah, I believe that the discount scales by the quality of the ticket. More expensive ticket, bigger discount.
It's a hard one. See, Philadelphia 76ers are the home team, but as Magic fans, I gotta like the Washington Wizards in this game.
I think it's foolish to ever root against a Wizard.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. I don't know a whole lot about basketball.
Now, 76ers, they're on a down season, but they are the home team. It's still a great game to go out to.
76 is a pretty solid number. Yeah, it's pretty high.
It reminds you of mulliganing.
Going from 7 to 6?
Yeah.
That's not good if you're a Wizard.
But they're not. They're a 76er. Instead, the guy is on the mulligan versus the Wizard. I'll take the Wizard, I think. But it's in Philly, so who knows?
Right. The home team advantage is going to be huge there.
Top-level sports analysis right here. Joe Lossett, the player from Redlands, California. You know him as Oarsman on stream. Part of Team Nerd Rage Gaming, 18 Open Top 8s and 5 wins. He has certainly been a mainstay on the tour, has participated in both Players' Championships. Known as a big mana player in a lot of formats. I think what I really like about Joe is a lot of players you'll see deck iterators. You know, your Brad Nelsons, your Jerry Thompsons, week to week playing different decks. Joe picks a strategy and he fine-tunes it over the course of an entire year.
Absolutely. We see on his info card here that he follows StarCraft 2 as closely as Magic. I would be amazed if he was anywhere near as good at StarCraft as he is at Magic. That is simultaneously a compliment and a dig. StarCraft is an extremly fast-paced game. Also, Joe is just great at Magic.
I mean, Joe's great at Magic. I will say, as someone a follower of esports, when you're 36, people are 36, keeping your APM at a competitive level in StarCraft 2, you're already you're way into your retirement years at that point.
Absolutely, and the word that comes to mind when I talk about Joe Lossett's Magic style, deliberate.
Yeah,
There's no time for deliberation in StarCraft.
You don't see Joe with like a APM of 200 or more?
He would literally be living a double life.
That'd be right. In StarCraft, he's 3 commands a second, and then in Magic, he's just going into the tank.
Double queuing Moto in StarCraft. That's why he's so deliberate.
Yeah, he doesn't have much time. No, very deliberate player, strong player as well. This matchup, he's glad to be back out of that Eldrazi bracket and back into the tried and true of the rest of Modern.
Oh, thank God. Somebody is still playing Abzan.
I know how to do this. This is great.
I've been here many times.
Now, what's interesting, how do you feel about these decks like Abzan when the field starts turning to Eldrazi? I mean, an all-kill spell approach is not unreasonable against Eldrazi.
Yeah, if you're able to keep pace and your removal spells actually line up reasonably, let's take a look at what we have for removal spells. Path to Exile, a lot of people are playing that against Eldrazi, so that one just lines up across the board at any point in their curve. Abrupt Decay will take care of Eldrazi Mimic. Yeah, can be a little bit behind on curve.
Abrupt Decay has the problem that it doesn't have many targets.
Yep.
Liliana of the Veil, though.
Yep. empty out the rest of their hand, make them sacrifice a big creature like a Thought-Knot Seer. Thoughtseize on turn 1 is also a very good play against Eldrazi, particularly if it's one of those games where they have to mulligan aggressively to find the Eldrazi land, then Thoughtseize really shines.
Yeah, you're right, though. Abrupt Decay and Inquisition of Kozilek, historically very good cards, could be tough against the Eldrazi deck.
Yep, the main deck Damnation, probably a direct nod to Eldrazi, actually.
All right, underway with Game 2. Brad is going to start out by developing his mana, and for Joe, we're Troning it up. Urza's Mind's the first play into Chromatic Star. It's got to where it does. Brad have something like a turn 2 Stony Silence. He has some cards to cheese Joe out in the sideboard, and he's going to need them.
Oh yeah, Stony Silence here would be huge.
Something white's in his hand. Could be a Lingering Souls.
Joe has 3 copies of Nature's Claim in his sideboard. There's a chance that you just bring that in because you're pretty worried about Stony Silence.
And you say, hey, it's a dead card, but we can win this game with 2 dead cards in every hand.
I got a couple to give.
Stony Silence turn 2. Brad has it. Joe, can he win with one hand tied behind his back? Maybe he just naturally has Tron. You see that third land in his hand is Urza's Tower.
Yeah, it's some kind of something. He has 3 Tron lands.
Yeah, he just has natural Tron.
Let's find out how they actually line up.
Tarmogoyf from Brad and a land. And that's the worst part, right? Brad brought one of his one sideboard cards and Joe's like, well, I got the Tron, so.
Yeah, sure, whatever. This is what my deck does. If you've never been naturally Troned, you've probably never played against the deck.
And he has the basic forest, so all cylinders for Joe. Here's the forest. Here's an Ancient Stirrings. I like this. See, now Brad won't feel bad about getting naturally Troned because Joe will show him the tower, so Brad will say, oh, you found it, okay. He doesn't know that Joe just didn't want to.
He'll probably still feel pretty bad when he gets turn 5 Ulamogged.
Yeah, no copies of Ugin in Joe's deck, so it's just Ulamog and Karn to get rid of the Stony Silence. And speaking of Karn, there he is. All right. Can Joe Brad will have to Thoughtseize that away before Joe plays it.
Yeah. Unclear if Joe has any other strong action in his hand, so a Thoughtseize here would be pretty key. Doesn't look like Brad actually has one, though.
He only plays 2. His splits on Thoughtseizes and Inquisitions was 4-2, 4 being the Inquisition of Kozilek.
The Inquisition lines up a lot better against the way that the format has kind of evolved. We've seen a lot of Death Shadow decks, not at this weekend, but on Magic Online and at the Pro Tour, so I'd much rather have Inquisition of Kozilek playing that matchup, but not having Thoughtseize can be an issue when you run into actual Tron.
And in case you're wondering what's going on here, Abrupt Decay is hitting Chromatic Star. Yes, Joe gets to draw a card, but the reason is that Brad wants to put Artifact and Instant in the graveyard, and Abrupt Decay is not getting any better. He'll do that swing for 4, has Joe to 16, and plays a second Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, Brad knows that Stony Silence is good, but he also knows that he's not out of the woods with that alone.
Joe, another Tron piece in hand, might just be able to Ulamog through a Stony Silence. What's Stony Silence do anyway? If I just have Tron, I don't need my artifacts.
It does nothing. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Null Rod. I get confused sometimes.
I like that flavor text.
It's probably the best flavor text of all time.
I like Simeon Grunts a lot.
Yeah, you like a lot of stupid ones.
That was back when R&D was writing the flavor text. It was great. So that one's good because it's very clever. Simeon Grunts.
Less clever.
These monkeys mean business. Boom. Block.
That is on the level of Root Greevel. Let's get Root Greevel on screen.
I got another one for you. I got another one. It's great. How about School of Piranhas?
Oh, God.
You read this one? This one's good. This is good. This is back when all the flavor text was the best part of every card. Karn is going to be played for Joe Lossett. That'll exile a Tarmogoyf, go down to 3.
There's a card with no room for flavor text.
Yeah. Some schools aren't worth getting into. Like that one.
That's the implication.
It's great stuff. It's going to be a discard spell. A Thoughtseize from Brad. He actually has a chance to get rid of the Ulamog. Ulamog's second Karn and Oblivion Stone. This is... I mean, he has to take the Ulamog, right? There's the... Joe's hand has Urza's Minds. That's up to 10 mana and Ulamog. I don't know if Brad can reasonably take anything else.
Yeah, the only way that you would ever consider taking the Karn is if you had access to a Path to Exile and you felt like you could win this game down 2 permanents. If you just let Joe have Ulamog, then the Ulamog is going to get rid of the Stony Silence, get rid of something else, and then the O-Stone is actually online. There's no way you leave him with Ulamog here.
It's only one of the 2 Thoughtseizes in Brad's deck, so what you have to remember is that this post-board draw, turn 2 Stony Silence and actually hitting one of his Thoughtseizes are among the best draws Brad can have in this matchup.
Yeah.
It's missing a Fulminator Mage. That's the last piece he would want, but
A Fulminator Mage would be huge here. Okay, so Brad actually goes for the Karn. I assume that this means that there's some kind of answer to the Ulamog looming in Brad's hand.
so he took the Karn.
Yeah, he just has to have a path here. I can't think of any other way to
it's just
justify
gotta
that
be it.
play.
Well, here's Ulamog. It exiles the 2 non-land permanents, so no Stony Silence, no Tarmogoyf. Those are gone. You're absolutely right. Path to Exile takes care of the Ceaseless Hunger.
Yep. So some good exchanges for Brad, though. At this stage in the game, Joe's starting to pull ahead. When both players just have lands, Joe has much better top decks.
Yeah, so we're waiting until Joe finds one of his Eye of Ugin, right?
Oh, that one would just be huge. The game would basically be over if Eye of Ugin showed up to play. You get access to drawing Wormcoil Engine every turn, or something bigger, the second copy of Ulamog.
Well, that's the thing is that the Ancient Stirrings and Expedition maps in Joe's deck can find it. So he has a lot of, equivalent draws.
Right. Also, notably, Joe now has access to that Oblivion Stone that was previously shut off by the Stony Silence. So even if Brad was able to start getting some threats into play, Joe would just have them covered.
So here's Ancient Stirrings for Joe. He'll go get Expedition map with it. This is exactly what I was talking about. And he's going to have the Eye of Ugin online not this turn, but next. He's 1 mana short of being able to do it this turn. It does not take him long to find Eldrazi.
Right. Yeah, it would take 2 towers this turn, and as we established, that is not an Urza's tower. That is the tower-looking mine in the 2 stack.
Expedition map and Oblivion Stone are the plays for Lossett. Plays Ghost Quarter as well.
Ghost Carter would block for any potential crumble to death. Oh, no, this is Abzan. This is not Jund. So crumble to death's not even an option.
Right, that's the thing. Abzan is even worse against Tron than Jund.
Yes.
It doesn't have the option to have as hateful of a sideboard. It gets Stony Silence, I suppose, which is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Now when Joe just has Tron.
Ulamog will not be silenced. Stony or otherwise. You can exile him.
Land for Brad, passes the turn. His value game plan, just not operating on the same axis as Tron.
No. Joe refers to Tron as a combo deck.
All right, Joe Lossett, you're losing points with me, but you can keep going with the explanation.
And what he says is, if you just put Karn in your deck, you're not casting it until turn 7. So he considers Tron a combo because you lock up games by doing Wormcoil Engine and Karn level things on turn 3. What we're seeing in the way that this matchup plays out, it's actually just a really big version of the Rock.
I got a different definition of combo deck. Okay.
You are definitely among the least interested people in that definition.
I play combo in every format, and Tron is wholly uninteresting to me. You play combo because you want a big turn where you do lots of cool things and broken things, and Tron's coolest turn is land, thing, go. It's not turning my crank, okay?
But Urza's power plant, mine, and tower
combine. I get it. I get that they have each other's names on the card.
They combine to generate 7 mana.
Yeah, okay.
Making this a combination deck.
That's like saying Phyrexian Obliterator combos with 4 swamps. Look at it.
I see that you're familiar with Reductio ad absurdum.
Found as a combo with Urborg. Does that make my Urborg Obliterator deck a combo deck now?
It's a combination.
See, it's a combination of Urborg and Obliterator. I'm comboing you. Tap 4, 5/5, go.
We see Joe's.
You got comboed.
Joe's combo deck is firing on all cylinders. He's generated a worm coil engine.
And then said go. Oh, it's the combo draw again. All right, back over to Brad. A fate counter put on Worm Coil Engine from Oblivion Stone. That means if Joe decides to crack the Oblivion Stone, which he probably won't, the Worm Coil Engine won't die.
Yeah.
That does actually, in a roundabout way, mean that if Brad wants to path to exile the Worm Coil Engine, Joe can't just blow up his Worm Coil in response.
Yeah, he'll get pretty heavily punished.
Fortunately, he'll find another. His Eye of Ugin's still in play.
He'll be forced to activate his eye and find another creature.
Back over to Brad, 9 life. He took 6 off the Worm Coil. Joe at a healthy 22. Lingering Soul's not going to do anything here.
It has become apparent to me that Brad is not interested in the happy hour specials.
Now he wants, yeah. More of a main course guy.
Yeah.
Liliana will -2 to get rid of the Worm Coil Engine.
I think we're going to see Joe finding that second Ulamog here in a second.
All right, here's some Lingering Souls. They will block the worms for a turn, maybe 2. If he flashes it back, then Joe might have to crack the O-Stone.
Unlikely.
He won't have to, but he might choose to. I don't know. Joe will activate Eye of Ugin again. He'll find Worm Coil.
Just Worm Coil. It's possible. I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but maybe the second Ulamog's in the sideboard.
I mean, Brad's plan here is to kill spell all of Joe's Worm Coil engines. If that sounds bad to you, that's because it is. But it is definitely his best game plan.
Joe's putting a fate counter on a worm token.
Chose the Death Toucher over the Lifelinker.
When you tell your friends about your match and part of the story includes, and then my opponent put a fate counter on his worm token, that's not a winning story.
As he swings both worms. We'll see if they're at Liliana or at Brad. Both seem about 100% to win. You know, and we were talking with Jeff Hoagland about this, where he said he wasn't main decking Fulminator Mages. And I bet Brad Brown has the same opinion, where Jeff said, you know, I didn't really expect anyone to still be playing Tron anymore. But then, of course, I played Joe Lossett, and that guy doesn't change decks.
Right.
Brad Brown must be having similar feelings. I wouldn't, if my opponent was playing Eye of Ugin, I was not expecting it to be alongside Urza's Tower anymore.
Right. I think that Hoagland ended up actually pulling it out against Joe. Part of the difference here is that he actually has access to a combo finish, where
right.
Abzan has access to a bunch of 1-for-1s and Lingering Souls.
You're not going to outvalue the Tron deck. Maybe you can combo them out, but you're not going to value them out.
Right.
Some blocks from Brad.
Looked like Brad peeled a Fulminator Mage. That is right on time.
Lifelink will put Joe up to a slightly higher number than he was previously at. Yeah, there we go. Here's Fulminator Mage, can break up Tron.
Yeah, Joe discarded a Nature's Claim there, so he does have access to those for the Stony Silence.
Makes sense. Flashback of Lingering Souls for Brad.
So if Joe got 3 game rule violations in this game and we went to a 3rd game, we know about the Nature's Claim. Okay, so the second Ulamog is still in Joe's deck, and Brad has seen enough.
That's enough. That's enough. Happy hour only goes on for 20 more minutes. We gotta get going.
I gotta move. Thanks for the games, Joe.
Congratulations to Joe Lossett, number 4 on the leaderboard right now. He's hoping to get one of those top 3 spots, and a day 2 performance this weekend will certainly net him some extra points. With that win and a 7-2 record, Joe moves on to play tomorrow.
Yep, cautiously watching to see if the other players on the leaderboard have made day 2 of this event, but Joe has done his job.
Congratulations to him.